Guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Superman Lois Season 4, aka the final season. So it was announced about 4 days ago that Superman Lois Season 4 is going to be the final season. The CW has officially called it quits for the Arrowverse and for Superman Lois. That's going to be our main topic today, to do with the end of the Arrowverse and what it could potentially mean. Basically, will we get any resolutions as to the whole Arrowverse, or will Superman Lois ending just be to do solely about Superman Lois? So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay, so thank you for all the support on my recent videos and my live streams that I do every Thursday night. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching everything. But today we've got a very important topic. This is just me talking off the cuff. I have no news article or anything to break down. This is just off the back of that Superman Lois Season 4 ending announcement. And first things first, just want to clear up, it's not cancelled, it's ending. So basically they came to an agreement that after the 10 episodes, that would be the end of Superman Lois. So it's a different thing. And so the question I want to address here is to do with the Arrowverse specifically, because obviously Superman Lois is part of the greater Arrowverse, even though back, a couple seasons ago, they quite clearly established that they are actually set on another Earth. They're not in the main Arrowverse, so that being Earth Prime, where Supergirl was, where the Flash was, where Arrow was, and everything. So they established, Superman Lois is on a different Earth, but it's still in the Arrowverse, and you had different versions of characters showing up. So a different version of Lucy Lane, you had a different John Diggle than we're normally seeing on Arrow and the Flash. So they've established that, right? But in terms of the greater Arrowverse, they are still linked in because that's where they were born out of. These characters. Tyler and Bitsy's characters first showed up in different shows. Tyler first showed up in Supergirl, and I believe Bitsy first showed up in one of the crossovers. And so if we're going to make any comparisons to any Arrowverse shows, let's compare to the show that was just finishing before Superman Lois. So the second to last lasting Arrowverse show was The Flash. The Flash ended a couple of months ago. It's been a while since it ended. However, the ending of the show really satisfied fans, and that was because it wasn't just about the end of The Flash. Basically, Eric Wallace, the showrunner of The Flash, took on the whole Arrowverse and basically tried to wrap it up. You had the return of some major characters like Stephen Amell's Green Arrow, the return of John Diggle, the return of many Flash characters, but definitely Stephen Amell's return was like the big thing, and that basically wrapped up the start of the Arrowverse, and it was kind of like a full circle moment, just like the Flash had his own full circle moment with Reverse Flash. And so for Superman Lois, the question is, will Superman Lois have that kind of full circle moment? Because Arrow was so pivotal to the Flash. Grant first showed up on the Flash, he was introduced then. So the question is the same thing going to happen on Superman Lois? So would we see Melissa Benoist Supergirl, or a version of Melissa Benoist, show up in the final season just to get that sort of full circle closure? Well, I think the simple answer to that is probably no, because Todd Helbing isn't like Eric Wallace. Eric Wallace was a big fan of these shows, and I believe Todd Helbing is more about his own show, more about Superman Lois, and so I feel like he's going to be less inclined to try and do his very best to close out the Arrowverse. I think, like he has done in the past with Superman Lois, he's going to probably try and keep the show's ending kind of contained and what they can actually afford, because we do have to consider that they are under huge budget constraints, and I don't know how much it would be to get a Melissa Benoist back, to have a Grant Gustin show up or something like that. That obviously would be a little bit expensive to try and get them back, because obviously they have to entice the actors to come back to Vancouver and actually film it. So even though I would love to see some actual cameos, like real physical appearances, I believe the ending of Superman Lois is probably going to be contained into the Superman Lois world, and mainly about the family, trying to conclude Lex Luthor and whatever story they end up doing for the 10 episodes this season. So I believe that's the way that they're probably going to go. But what's to say they can't go the kind of archival footage route of Titans? Like, I've heard some people actually bring that up, especially when we talk about it in the live stream last week, because it was just after the announcement that Superman Lois is ending with season 4. So some of you guys chimed in and said basically, could they do a Titans where, you know, Titans had that episode where you saw Grant Gustin's Flash show up, but it wasn't himself. And so there was like one cameo, that being Brett Bassinger's Stargirl, but Grant Gustin didn't film anything, but he was in the episode via archival footage. So will they do anything like that? Is it going to be at all multiversal? Well, I don't think so. Like, I know this is me theorizing, oh, could we do this? Could we do that? But I'm actually stating probably not, because I don't really have faith in Todd Helbing to care about the rest of the Arrowverse, because he has been very clear in the past that his number one priority is always Superman Lois, which obviously has made it a very good show. But I think it's important to put it in context here, because Superman Lois ultimately is an Arrowverse show. It's the final Arrowverse show on the CW, and this is the end of an era. And I think the finale, or one of the previous episodes as you head towards that 10th and final episode, has to be to do with the Arrowverse. It has to be a callback. It has to somehow involve other people. Now, am I saying 100% it can't be done and there's going to be nothing? Well, no. It could even be, at the very minimum, like John Diggle showing up from Superman Lois's Earth, or, you know, a Lucy Lane showing up, or some familiar faces from Superman Lois's past popping up to say goodbye for one last final episode. It could definitely happen, but I guess I'm just putting it in the perspective of what the Superman Lois showrunner has been like and what he said in the past. So I think archival footage in terms of a crossover is probably less likely, because it's less involved in the multiverse. It's more about the family. They've said this season is going to be more on the drama side, less VFX, because they want to try and keep the budget down because of what's been going on at the CW. And basically, I think the result of all these budget cuts is they've said, okay, let's call it quits here, because if we do another season, we're going to have a very low budget again, and we're going to kind of have to go through the same thing. And I think it's going to be more annoying than anything else. So if you try and dive into the mind of Todd Helbing, I'm pretty sure you can clearly see he's just going to go, okay, we've got this story, we got Doomsday, this is how Superman Lois season 3 ended, we've got to pay it off for the fans, but we got to keep the budget down. So that Doomsday story is probably going to be very small and probably done in 1 or 2 episodes, absolutely maximum, because they've got to do a new story for this final season to keep fans engaged, to resolve the Lex Luthor story, to resolve all the lasting strands of these different characters, some who will return, but some characters probably won't return if the actors aren't agreed to actually come back on, you know, since all the kind of big drama went on with all of the series regulars apart from the core cast being kicked out and basically demoted to, you know, merely guest stars or playing a very limited recurring role. But we don't have any official news as of right now. Again, they're just starting to write the season, so the acting strike is still going on right now as I record this video on the 7th of November, so we've got a while until we actually see Superman Lois's final season go into production and we get any kind of conclusive news. Of course, I'm going to keep you guys up to date as to the ins and outs of Superman Lois season 4 as we get behind the scenes looks, as we kind of get rumors of things actually starting to get going up in Vancouver. But for right now, it's pretty much, okay, they're going to get back to the drawing board. They've got to start writing the season. And then at that point, once the actor strike is over, obviously they can go properly into production. And I'm sure we'll start hearing a bit more about this final season of Superman Lois. And obviously this video is all to do with the end of the Arrowverse. Will we get any kind of proper final crossover? I think the answer is no, and I'm sorry to say that because that's not the answer I want to actually give you guys. I want there to be a crossover. I would love in the future if there was, you know, some sort of big reunion, kind of like how they did Friends reunion, like way in the future. Wouldn't it be amazing to go like 5 years into the future from now, after the end of the Arrowverse, and you have all of the actors coming back, well, the main actors, and you have like one final crossover? That would be my dream, but we'll have to wait and see. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Obviously, all of this really helps out. Like I said earlier, we do live streams every Thursday, so please be sure to tune in this Thursday night around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. UK time. Translate that to wherever you guys are around the world. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.